Okay, so by now you guys should have the aim in your notebook, aim 4.8. You should have the aim copied down exactly as it's shown here on the slide. And that's a question that you should be able to answer at the end of the lesson. And we just went over a bunch of responses for the do now. So we're going to talk about Alexander the Great today, arguably one of the greatest military strategists and greatest leaders the world has ever known. So here we go. All right, so I will give you a second to copy the stuff on the slide and we will get going. So I'll give you a second. All right, so while you guys finish up here. So Alexander is the son of King Philip II, who is the king of Macedonia. Macedonia is a country that sits just north of Greece. So when you look at the little map here, you could see the archipelago and peninsula that is Greece here in this kind of light orange, and this darker shaded color here. This is the kingdom of Macedonia. So Alexander is the son of the king of Macedonia. Now, being the king of Macedonia, King Philip obviously has great wealth and power at his disposal, and he uses that wealth and power. Alexander's personal teacher and personal tutor is Aristotle. Okay, Aristotle is one of the big three philosophers from ancient Greece, and he's arguably one of the smartest people to ever walk planet Earth. And King Philip II basically sends a message to Greece and basically summons this guy to his kingdom. And he basically moves in and becomes Alexander the Great's personal tutor. So that's incredible wealth and power on display right there. Anyone on planet Earth would kill to have this person as their personal teacher, and that is the case for Alexander the Great. So Alexander the Great, his father is going to die, and Alexander takes control of Macedonia, and he immediately sets his sights on conquest. He starts with neighboring Greece south of him, conquers Greece, and then moves on to the rest of the world. Well, long story short, by the time he's 32 years old, Alexander conquers 70% of the known world, including the Persian Empire. Now, the operative term here is known world, okay? In the 330s BCE, not all of the planet Earth is known to the Greeks, okay? There's not a lot of traveling around the globe and so on and so forth. So as far as the land that they knew existed, Alexander the Great conquered 70% of it. That's an incredible feat and accomplishment. If we want to draw a parallel today, that would be like someone conquering all of planet Earth except South America. So save for one continent. But if we wanted to kind of grade it on a curve, Alexander's, achievements of conquering 70% of the known world would be comparable to someone conquering the entire world now, except South America. So just to put it in kind of perspective and context about how incredible this achievement really was. All right, here we go. All right, a lot of red. I'll pause and give you a minute. All right, if you guys were here, I'd be standing over my big, giant, fancy map. It's like the size of one of these walls. It's pretty great. But you're not, so I can't do that. But Alexander's empire reaches all the way from Greece, and you see it here. Macedonia is in this purple color, all the way to the Indus River. So this is across this whole stretch of Eurasia, kind of all the way into the Indian subcontinent. And basically his deal is that he's a superior military strategist and amazing leader. Supposedly he's undefeated. He's never been defeated in battle his entire life. But the reason why we're studying this and the reason why we need to know about this is for this term that's called Hellenism or Hellenic culture. That's what we really need to know here. So this is what you want to kind of put a star next to. We need to know the definition of this. We need to be familiar with this term. It is the spread of Greek culture and language to non-Greek areas, and that spread is facilitated by the conquests of Alexander the Great. So as Alexander conquers all of Eurasia, he brings with him the Greek culture and language to all these other places. Macedonia is just north of Greece and was heavily influenced by Greek culture for a long time. So Macedonia is kind of like is basically Greek, the same way Canada is kind of sort of American. It's not incredibly different. They speak the same language. They have a lot of the same cultural customs and norms, so on and so forth. So um, Alexander the Great brings this Greek culture and language to all these other places, and this is called Hellenism or Hellenic culture. So Hellenic culture essentially is the mixing of Greek culture with the local culture of the places that he's conquering. So these include, Persia, India, Egypt, etc. You can see he's into the Egyptian Nile River Valley here. So this is basically just like a fancy and specific form of cultural diffusion. That's what we really need to know. So, cultural diffusion that is specific to Alexander the Great as he spreads Greek culture to non Greek areas is called Hellenism or Hellenic culture. So, we absolutely, absolutely, absolutely must know what Hellenism is. And we also need to be aware that it may be referred to as Hellenic culture or Hellenism, either one. If you see any of these vocabulary terms, they're talking about the same thing. They're talking about this. So that's what we absolutely must know, okay?